I don't have that much to say about The Road to El Dorado. I mean, it's an alright film, like a 6 out of 10 kind of film, but it's just that the amount of stuff that I have to say about this movie is rather limited. Basically, I have even less to say about this movie than I did with 9. By all means necessary, this movie is definitely better than 9 and Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland, because while the movie does start off kinda slow, it does pick itself up from there. So, this movie revolves around two con men named Tulio and Miguel. During a game of dice, they end up winning a map that leads into a city of gold named El Dorado, and get mistaken as gods when they get there. And with the help of a native woman named Chel, they need to keep a secret going for 3 days as the natives build a boat to lead them out of there and go back to Spain. To get the positives that I do have with this film out of the way, I do like how in this movie, in spite of the fact that the two main characters are con men, shows that they do still care about those around them. As when Teasel Khan and the guards try to sacrifice innocent people in honor of them, they do spare their lives and let them go. And they do also show that people are not nearly as monstrous as Teasel Khan makes them out to be, given that Miguel is friendly with them. It's very nice that just like Storks, this movie doesn't go towards animated movie cliches that have been beaten to the ground. This movie almost decides to go the Act 2 breakup route, but thankfully it refrains from doing that. And it's also nice that these native people don't really hold a grudge against Tulio and Miguel for lying, so it doesn't go the liar reveal trope, and these native people don't really have much of a reason for why they would even go after them for taking the gold with them, because they have an unlimited supply of gold anyway. The only reason why they were after Chel in the first place was because of the fact that she stole an artifact from the temple. Meanwhile, the natives gave gold to Tulio and Miguel, and they probably didn't mind Tulio and Miguel taking the gold with them because they were incredibly nice to them anyway, so it was them giving to them in return. And I think I speak for everyone when I say that Chel is one of the most lovely characters that I've ever seen in an animated movie, not only because of her design, which would definitely not fly today, unless if it was either in an animated movie for adults or an adult cartoon, but also because of her voice in general, which just adds on to how lovely she is. Though the movie doesn't really explore her character and if she's a visitor or if she's in this organization with the rest of them, which does lead into some of the issues that I do have with this movie, and that the movie does take a bit of time before it starts to get good, and the main characters Tulio and Miguel do reflect this. Where something like Zig and Sharko and Storks were just alright, but the characters were the thing that brought them up to a good, The Road to El Dorado is sort of the opposite, where the movie is just decent, and the characters reflect this. Except for Chel, of course. And well, my biggest problem that I have with this film is the main characters. They're not bad characters, and they're certainly more interesting than Nemo from Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland and Bodhi from Rock Dog. The problem with them instead is actually something that I've never brought up on my channel before, and it's probably not going to be the last time that I talk about this, unless I get around to reviewing Quack Pack in an episode of Kuku Harajuku pretty soon. But for the first portion of the film, Tulio and Miguel are very indistinguishable from one another. Until we get to the island, and that they don't have anything major to set themselves apart from each other. The differences are a little subtle, in that Miguel is in El Dorado for the atmosphere and loves to have fun, while Tulio is more strict and is in it just for the gold, though that's not much of a distinction to make them stand out, because you could switch the personality of these two, and you wouldn't be able to tell who is who. I know I didn't have a lot to really say about this one, but this film doesn't give me all that much to talk about. When it comes to my thoughts on this movie, the first portion is just average. It then picks up slightly and stays that way for the rest of the movie. And not too much really happens in the film until the climax comes around, aside from the statue jaguar coming to life by Teasel Khan controlling him, and that's all I had to really say about this film. If you're looking for a movie that isn't amazing, but would at least not make you feel bored or frustrated, The Road to El Dorado will do the job for you. But it's not a film that I would really say has anything mind-blowing in it, though Chel is a lovely character, as I said, but the rest of the film, aside from the parts where Tulio and Miguel, as well as the native people, are kind towards one another, is just decent.
Everything